the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey. We've got him here, so we're going to interrupt you to speak to Sir Ed Davey. Sir Ed, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Busy times politically and on the world stage. I'd like to start with that for you. What do you make of what's going on, Britain's role in all of this, and where we're at with these talks?
Well, I think we're all digesting the news from overnight, but I still fear that Trump is driven by a desire to get a deal with President Putin and is putting that above the long-term interests of Ukraine and of European security. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's a deal that Ukraine would willingly sign up to. The hints that there could be some sort of security guarantees for Ukraine with America involved, that's welcome. It's a bit vague at the moment, and there's a real worry that the price that would be exacted from Ukraine would be an unacceptable price in terms of giving up land. So I think we're digesting, but I have to say, I think the best response that Britain could make would be to strengthen the hand of Zelensky at negotiations by offering to increase our support for Ukraine, for example, with British Typhoon jet fighters. I think we have to make sure that Ukraine goes into those negotiations in the strongest possible way.
Russia wouldn't respond too well to that, Sir Ed. I mean, I see exactly what you're saying and the implications of it, but the Russian response from Putin would not be good to that.
Well, I think Russia's response now isn't good. I'm afraid Putin has already won a big concession from President Trump about no ceasefire, and now the Ukrainians are expected to negotiate and turn up at some sort of summit with Putin while Russia is killing its children. I think it's totally unacceptable. So that's why we have to send a very strong signal to Moscow, to Kremlin, and indeed to the White House that the UK, with its European allies, are there for the long term with Ukraine to defend its territory and to defend the security of our continent and indeed ultimately of the United Kingdom.
A lot since this war actually happened in 2022. Talked a lot about sanctions, and sanctions has always been a big part of this process. How much trade does the UK do with Russia?
A lot.
Too much, for sure. And that's why Liberal Democrats have led the debate about seizing frozen Russian assets. That's one of the things I think we need to do now. There's £27 billion of frozen Russian assets, I believe, in the UK. I think that should be used to buy weapons for Ukraine and support Ukraine.
Yeah. Sorry, I was jumping the gun there, and you'd already actually sort of answered the question there.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Well, just while he's putting his ear back in again, I spent a lot of time filming in Russia over the past few years in Moscow. And I'll tell you this, the people who lived in Moscow, they wanted one thing, and that was Western harmonization. They wanted this idea that they could buy a Jaguar car or a Mercedes or whatever. And
they wanted luxury goods from Britain.
They wanted that sort of stuff. And that sort of brings me to this point, Sir Ed, where the people in Russia may not, say if you live in Moscow, you may not know what's going on in Crimea or the Donbass or whatever it happens to be. It's not affecting them. It always surprises me that Ukraine doesn't bring the war into Russia and sort of wake people up and say, do you know what Putin is doing? He's doing this to us.
Well, I think you make an interesting point. I think Ukraine has tried its very best, but I think it's incumbent on Ukraine's allies in Europe and beyond to try to bring it home to Russians. And to be honest, one of the reasons why Liberal Democrats have supported seizing those frozen Russian assets is I think it will bring it home to those Russian oligarchs. They're the ones who keep Putin in power. Make sure the Russian oligarchs are feeling the pain. That will bring it back to Russia.
Yeah. Okay. Sir Ed, we'll leave you with that troublesome earpiece there. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Always good to talk to you and get your comments on that. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. We've now got Suzanne Evans. Suzanne is an amazing political commentator with an analysis on things. What did you make of what Sir Ed was saying there about how we should deal with Russia, Suzanne?
Well, very interesting. He seems to be taking really the alternative view to President Trump. And it's very difficult to argue with what Sir Ed Davey says. You know, nobody wants to see Ukraine cede territory, least of all Ukraine. We have a bully in the Kremlin, and Ed Davey, like most of us, would want to stand up to bullies. But here's the hard facts. There are estimated to be 1 million people dead in this war. It's been Europe's deadliest war for 80 years. And now peace does seem to be within grasp for the first time. And Trump seems to be the man who is brokering that potential peace. But again, as Ed Davey points out, it is peace at what cost? It's clear that Trump's view seems to be that Ukraine should be ceding more territory to the Donbass, the rest of the Donbass, the quarter or so that Putin hasn't already invaded and seized, and that he should be given more territory. And clearly that's something that's going to be a very bitter pill for Zelensky and the rest of the world to take.
You used a great word there, cost. And I think you're looking at Trump, who I think he does obviously wants peace, whatever, but he wants business as well. He wants America to make money out of a new relationship with Russia, and Putin needs that money. They don't want Europe in the way. They don't want Europe spoiling things or whatever. And I think we're building towards some sort of new economic relationship between Russia and the USA.
Well, we might well be. I mean, the region of Donetsk is very important strategically. It's important to Putin for military reasons, for political reasons, for economic reasons. It's got coal and mineral resources that are very valuable. And I'm sure President Trump is eyeing those as well. So this is what it always is, isn't it? It's always a trade deal. It's always a negotiation. War, in a sense, if you can create peace through trade, then that is a way out of war. And it's just a question of whether you agree with that as a means of a strategy to bringing peace or whether you don't. But the fact is, at the moment, Trump's being very vague. It's typical, isn't it? He's saying, yeah, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. And that's Trump's approach. There are no clear red lines. There's no clear detail. Putin is quite interesting. I did notice that Ed Davey was almost, in a sense, playing into Putin's hands, in the sense that he was talking about how the UK and Europe needs to support Ukraine more militarily. Now, that is precisely, as you said, Eamon, that is precisely the kind of thing that angers President Putin. And Russia made it very clear yesterday when Keir Starmer was talking about a NATO Article 5 sort of agreement, i.e. the idea that if one country in NATO is attacked, then it's considered to be an attack on them all. And Russia immediately came out and said that was wrong. That is talking about escalating global conflict, and Russia wasn't going to stomach that kind of talk. So, and in a sense, Ed Davey was saying much the same thing. So this is a very delicate negotiation. People want peace. I think he's right about talking about seizing the Russian money here in the UK. But the other thing about this war, everyone said right from the beginning that sanctions were going to be hard and they were going to hit Russia. And I have to say, my view from the beginning was that wouldn't work. Russia had huge reserves of foreign currency. When Europe stopped taking its oil, Russia just sold it to India and China. In many respects, in this awful, awful game, Russia has held all the cards.
Okay.
And of course, that's what Trump was trying to say to Zelensky at that fated meeting at the White House back in February.
Suzanne, thank you very much, Suzanne Evans.
Always a pleasure, Suzanne. Thank you very much indeed.